Good morning. This is the time and place notice for hearing in the application of Rocky Mountain Power for approval of electric service agreement between PacifiCorp and Nucor Corporation. That's Commission Docket number 17-03572. My name is Michael Hammer. I am the Commission's designated presiding officer for this docket. Let's go ahead and take appearances, please.
Good morning, Mr. Hammer. Daniel Solander, representing Rocky Mountain Power, and I have with me at council table Mark Taranjo, who will be Rocky Mountain Power's witness in this proceeding.
Patricia E. Schmidt with the Attorney General's Office on behalf of the Division of Public Utilities. With me at council table is Mr. Charles H. Peterson. He will be the division's witness in this matter.
And I am Stephen Snar with the Attorney General's Office, representing the Office of Consumer Services. And with me is Cheryl Murray, an analyst with the office who will be made available for comments today.
Sorry, I'll turn on my mic. Jeremy Cook and Eric Lacey on behalf of Nucor Corporation.
Thank you. Are there any preliminary matters before we begin?
Just one. I gave my witness the wrong middle initial. His middle initial actually is E, not H, so if we could correct that, please.
Duly noted. Mr. Solander.
With that important piece of business behind us, Rocky Mountain Power is prepared to call Mark Taranjo in support of its application.
All right, I'm comfortable if the witnesses stay seated at their seats this morning if everyone else is. Then Mr. Taranjo, do you swear to tell the truth?
I do, yes.
Thank you.
Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mark Taranjo, T-O-U-R-A-N-G-E-A-U, M-A-R-K, first name.
And what is your current position with PacifiCorp?
I'm the Director of Commercial Services.
And since this is your first time testifying in front of the Utah Commission, could you please just give a very, very brief background of your professional experience?
Yes, I've been in the energy industry for roughly 25 years, worked in risk management, finance, and commercial operations and sales during the majority of that time.
And as Director of Commercial Services for PacifiCorp, were you responsible for negotiating the agreement with Nucor?
Yes.
And do you have a summary of the agreement that you'd like to present to the Commission?
I do.
Please proceed.
I present today for Commission approval an electric service agreement between Nucor Steel Utah, a division of Nucor Corporation, or Nucor, and PacifiCorp doing business as Rocky Mountain Power, or Rocky Mountain Power. On November 15, 2017, the Commission issued an order approving a stipulation and settlement agreement filed by Rocky Mountain Power to extend the previous contract's terms through March 31, 2018. The stipulating parties included Rocky Mountain Power, the Office of Consumer Services, or the Office, and the Division of Public Utilities, or the Division. In an application dated December 29, 2017, Rocky Mountain Power filed for approval of a new electric service agreement with Nucor. The company now seeks approval of this ESA. The effective date of this new agreement is April 1, 2018, and the company requests the Commission approve this new ESA prior to the expiration of the current ESA on March 31, 2018. Nucor has been an interruptible customer of the company for many years. The specific structure and terms of the electric service agreements between the parties have varied somewhat over the years, but the interruptible nature of the contract has been constant. The structure and terms of the new ESA are similar to those found in the existing agreement, which was approved by the Commission on December 17, 2015 in docket number 15-035-81. The new ESA has a 2-year term covering the remainder of calendar year 2018 and 2019, with 2 automatic 1-year extensions through the end of 2020 and 2021, unless either party gives 180 days notice to terminate. The rates in the new ESA are equivalent to the approved rates as of December 31, 2017 from the previous contract. Rate changes for Nucor will occur consistent with the result of any general rate case or major plan addition case in the state of Utah and will be tied to the average percent change for all Utah retail customers. The new agreement also includes interruptible provisions similar to the existing agreement, in which the company is allowed to interrupt Nucor's load up to 135 hours per year, broken up into 100 total 60-minute interruptions and 140 15-minute interruptions. On February 26, 2018, the DPU issued its report in which it recommends approval of the ESA with 3 conditions that were also contained in its previous order in docket number 15-035-81. The company currently follows these recommendations and agrees to continue doing so, although with one clarification. The division recommends that cost of service studies, including Nucor, will be provided by PacifiCorp as part of any general rate case or surcharge proceeding filed during the term of this agreement. The company typically does not file cost of service studies in rate proceedings such as the energy balancing account. Therefore, the company would like to clarify that this provision will apply to proceedings where a cost of service study is normally filed, as in a general rate case. On February 26, 2016, the Office of Consumer Services issued its report in which they stated they are not advocating for any specific modifications to the ESA at this time. However, they will be monitoring how Nucor performs versus its cost of service under the terms of this ESA. The company represents the terms and conditions in the Nucor ESA are just and reasonable and in the public interest. Therefore, the company recommends and requests the Commission approve the ESA. Thank you.
Does that conclude your testimony?
It does. Thank you.
Mr. Toronjo is available for questions from the parties or the Commission.
Ms. Schmidt,
No questions?
Mr. Snar,
No questions.
Mr. Cook. Thank you.
No
Mis-
questions.
Mr. Solander, any other witness?
No other witnesses for the company. Thank you.
Ms. Schmidt,
The division would like to call Mr. Charles E. Peterson as its witness. May he please be sworn.
Mr. Peterson, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson, by whom are you employed? What's your business address and what is your current title?
Well, my name is Charles E. Peterson. My business address is 160 East, 300 South, Heber Wells Building, 4th floor. My title is Utility Technical Consultant. And was that all of the questions?
Yes. In conjunction with your employment at the division, did you prepare or cause to be prepared the division's memorandum filed on February 26, 2018 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections to that filing?
No.
Do you adopt this filing as your testimony here today?
Yes.
With that, do you have a brief summary to provide?
A very brief summary. The division reviewed the filing that Rocky Mountain Power had made in this docket. We had a meeting with Rocky Mountain Power's staff to go over the calculations and that it performed, and the division has reviewed those calculations and is satisfied that they were correctly done. And the division recommends that the Commission approve, subject to the conditions that we had mentioned and has been previously agreed to by the parties, that the Commission approve the new ESA for Nucor as being just and reasonable and in the public interest. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Peterson is now available for questions from the parties or from the Commission.
Mr. Solander,
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Snar,
No questions.
Mr. Cook.
No questions.
Mr. Peterson, and I'll allow your counsel to answer this question if she prefers. I was just wondering if the division confers with Mr. Toronjo's clarification that the cost of service study condition would only apply in the context of a general rate case.
That is my understanding, and that is when it would be. I think we mentioned that in the discussion in our memorandum that there has not been a cost of service study performed since the last general rate case that has been accepted. The company does routinely perform cost of service studies in conjunction with its annual results of operations filings with the Commission. But as mentioned also in our memorandum, those calculations done by the company are not generally accepted as being by all parties in a general rate case, and are generally modified as a result of a general rate case. So the division views the issue of cost of service studies to be one that would be litigated in a general rate case. And
Thank you. Ms. Schmidt, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses for the division.
Thank you. Mr. Snar?
Yes, the Office of Consumer Services did provide a memo to the filing and made that to this docket. We'd like to present Cheryl Murray as a witness in support of that memo.
Ms. Murray, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Murray, please state your name and address.
My name is Cheryl Murray. My business address is 160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Did you prepare and submit to the Commission a memo dated February 26, 2018 regarding the office's position on the Nucor Electric Service Agreement that is the subject of today's hearing?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections you would like to make?
No.
Do you have a statement that you would like to offer?
Yes, I also have a very brief statement.
Please proceed.
The office believes its February 26 memo lays out our concerns with the ESA and areas we believe are reasonable. I have 3 points I would like to reiterate prior to providing the office's final position. I will avoid addressing any of the confidential areas of the ESA. The office believes that if the Commission approves the special contract, the proposed timing for implementing rate changes is appropriate. The office asserts that it is appropriate that Nucor be subject to the identified surcharges. It is the office's view that Rocky Mountain Power's ability to hold reserves and curtail Nucor can provide system benefits. Ultimately, the office is not raising any concerns significant enough to cause us to oppose the approval of this contract. That concludes my comments.
Ms. Murray is available for questions.
Mr. Solander?
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Schmidt?
No questions.
Mr. Cook?
no questions.
Mr. Snar, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses.
And Mr. Cook, did you have anything?
We don't have any witnesses.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Nothing further from the company.
All right. Well, the Commission is aware that the parties are operating under a time constraint with the parameter at the end of the month, and we'll certainly take that into mind. Thank you.